this is the Toddlers service for St Mary's Church, Jersey in the Channel Islands. It's the service for Thursday the 26th of August 2021. And we're in my kitchen. And we've got some songs to sing and join in, and some rhymes, and a story and some prayers. So I hope your little people will enjoy joining in the actions. So we're going to start with If I Go Climbing. And the actions start off with climbing.
Let's go climbing up a huge mountain.
If I go climbing, 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 if I go climbing, God is there. If I go climbing on the highest mountain, God is there, 'cause He is everywhere.
Now let's get into our boats and go for a row.
Row a boat.
If I go rowing, 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 if I go rowing, God is there. If I go rowing on the widest river, God is there, 'cause He is everywhere.
Let's go swimming right to the bottom of the ocean.
In the ocean.
If I go swimming, 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 if I go swimming, God is there. If I go swimming to the bottom of the ocean, God is there, 'cause He is everywhere.
Can you get into your car? Put on your
Drive the
seatbelt,
car.
ready to go for a
Seatbelt
drive.
on.
If I go driving, 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 if I go driving, God is there. If I go driving far away, God is there, 'cause He is everywhere.
Now we're going flying on an aeroplane.
On an aeroplane.
If I go flying, 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 if I go flying, God is there. If I go flying on the biggest aeroplane, God is there, 'cause He is everywhere.
Can you curl up on the floor?
And go to sleep.
Go to sleep.
Down on the floor.
If I go sleeping, 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 if I go sleeping, God is there. If I go sleeping on the darkest night, God is there, 'cause He is everywhere.
I'm going to sing the rhyme about two little eyes. If you know it, you can join in. Two little eyes to look to God, two little ears to hear His word, two little feet to walk in His ways, two little lips to sing His praise, two little hands to do His will, and one little heart to love Him still. Now, Jesus is my best friend, we're going to sing. And the actions start off like this. Jesus is my best friend, my best friend, my best friend. Jesus is my best friend, He's always there for me. Jesus is my best friend, my best friend, my best friend. Jesus is my best going to sing the dinosaur song. So there'll be a lot of stomping and roaring and stomping and roaring, roaring like dinosaurs. Roar, 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 roar. Stomp, stomp, roar, 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 roar. Many, many years ago, walking on the earth were supermassive animals with teeth and claws and fur. Some could swim and fly and crawl, but way more radical is that God who made them is alive, greater than them all. God is bigger than the dinosaur, taller than the dinosaur, stronger than the dinosaur. Roar, roar, roar. God is older than a dinosaur, more mighty than a dinosaur, more awesome than a dinosaur. Roar, 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 roar. Tyrannosaurus Rex, king above the rest. And how did Stegosaurus bark, or the Diplodocus lay eggs? Only God could know it all. The way radical is that he could bring them back to life. Now wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't it? God is bigger than a dinosaur, taller than a dinosaur, stronger than a dinosaur. Roar, roar, roar. God is older than a dinosaur, more mighty than a dinosaur, more awesome than a dinosaur. Roar, roar, roar. No fossil is not extinct, it's with us here and now, and forever he'll be alive. Let's roar his praises now. Roar, roar, roar. God is bigger than a dinosaur, taller than a dinosaur, stronger than a dinosaur. Roar, roar, roar. God is older than a dinosaur, more mighty than a dinosaur, more awesome than a dinosaur. Roar, 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 roar. Stomp, stomp, roar, 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 roar. The dinosaurs go off into the distance. And I'm going to sing the song about Mr. Noah. Mr. Noah built an ark, the people thought it such a lark. Mr. Noah pleaded so, but into the ark they would not go. Down came the rain in torrents, splish splash. Down came the rain in torrents, splish splash. Down came the rain in torrents. All the 8 were saved. The animals went in 2 by 2. The big giraffe and the kangaroo, all were safely stowed away until that great and terrible day, when down came the rain in torrents, splish splash. Down came the rain in torrents, splish splash. Down came the rain in torrents. All the 8 were saved. So whenever you see a rainbow, whenever you see a rainbow, whenever you see a rainbow, remember God is love. Now we're going to have the wiggle song. And we're going to wiggle, 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 get rid of lots and lots of energy. Because we're going to wiggle, 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 and then when the music tells us we freeze. And then we wiggle, wiggle, wiggle again. wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Wiggle, 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 freeze. Wiggle, 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 freeze. I said I gotta get the wiggles out of me. I'm gonna shake my hands, I'm gonna shake my feet, I'm gonna shake my head, I'm gonna move to the beat, because I gotta get the wiggles out of me. I said I gotta get the wiggles out of me. Wiggle, 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 freeze. Wiggle, 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 freeze. I said I gotta get the wiggles out of me. Silly scat, silly do. I gotta get those wiggles out of me, 'cause I wanna hear the story. It's gonna be fun to hear how Jesus is for everyone. So I gotta get those wiggles out of me. Wiggle, 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 freeze. Wiggle, 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 freeze. I said I gotta get the wiggles out of me. I said I gotta get the wiggles out of me. I said I gotta get the wiggles out of me. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Take it down. Two prayer books to read out of. This is a prayer about babies, because today's story tells us all about a very special baby. The tiny little baby has a lovely smiley face, but not much hair at all. The tiny little baby has two bright brown eyes, two ears, one mouth and a nose. The tiny little baby has a fat round tummy, a fine pair of legs and 10 little toes. The tiny little baby has two chubby hands with 8 fingers and 2 small thumbs. The tiny little baby was planned by you, God, and given to us all to care for. Thank you, God, for all tiny little babies. We say, Amen. And in today's story, the story about a little baby, we hear how God had a special plan for this little baby and didn't forget him. God is faithful. God will never leave us or forget about us. Thank you, God, that you care for us and never forget about us. And we say, Amen. And then we remember that the stories are always from God's book, the Bible. So we say, now is the time to listen. Now is the time to see. We'll open God's book to hear what he has to tell me. As I said, today's story is about a tiny little baby. This is long, long time ago, before Jesus was born, and the people of Israel were living in the land of the Egyptians, but there were lots and lots of them, and the Egyptian Pharaoh was getting a little bit cross. He said, there's too many of these people of Israel. There's too many of these Hebrew people. And he gave an order that all the baby boys that were born were to be thrown into the big river Nile and drowned. And there was one lady who had a little tiny boy, and she loved him very much, and she managed to keep him hidden when he was a little tiny baby. But you know what happens to babies? They get bigger, and the bigger they get, the bigger their crying is. And she realised she couldn't hide him much longer because people would hear his crying. So she decided what she was going to do with her lovely baby boy. She was going to put him floating in the river. So she got two baskets made of rushes. And she took the baskets, and so that they were waterproof, she painted them with black sticky tar, painted all over the baskets. The big one, and she took some more sticky tar and she painted it over the smaller basket. The black sticky tar all over the baskets to make them waterproof. And then she left the baskets out in the sun to dry, so they would be waterproof. And then she took her lovely baby boy and she gave him a big, big drink of milk so that he would be sleepy, and had his tummy really, really full so he would be content and sleepy. And then she took a nice soft cloth and she put it in the basket, and she put her lovely baby boy into the basket. And he was sleepy and he soon went to sleep. She covered him up. And then she put the other basket on the lid to make a lid so that the hot sun didn't make him too hot. And then she went down to the big, big River Nile. And she floated the baby on the edge of the Nile. Now the baby had a big sister. The big sister was called Miriam. And she hid among the reeds to watch what would happen to her lovely baby brother. She wanted to make sure he was all right. And because she was little, she could hide among the reeds. And the baby floated in the basket on the water. But then, of course, the baby started crying because after a few hours he was hungry again and he started to cry. And then who do you think came along the river bank? The beautiful princess of the Egyptians, an Egyptian princess. And she saw the basket and she sent her maidservant down to fetch the basket for her. And the Egyptian princess lifted off the lid and she saw the baby boy. And she said, "This must be a Hebrew baby, a baby of the people of Israel." And he was crying. And she felt so sorry for the baby. He was crying so much. But then the big sister came along. And big sister said to the princess, "Princess," she bowed down, "would you like me to go and get a Hebrew lady to feed this baby? I know just the person." Said the princess, "That would be wonderful." And big sister Miriam went off, and who did she get? The baby's mummy. The baby's mummy came along and she bowed down to the princess and said, "I could look after the baby for you." "Yes," said the princess. "You take this baby and you look after him. You give him plenty of milk until he's big enough to eat big solid food, and then you must bring him back to me." So that's just what happened. The baby's mummy ended up looking after him. And big sister Miriam was there to look after him too. And then when he was big enough, he was taken back to the princess in the palace, and he was brought up as a prince. That's the story of how God looked after and had a plan for the special baby. And the princess said, I'm going to call him Moses, because that means lifted out of the water. And that's how the baby became Moses, baby Moses, who was found in the reeds, in the bulrushes, in the River Nile. Now I'm going to sing the song about my God is so big. Stand up for this one. My God is so big, so strong and so mighty. There's nothing that he cannot do. Clap, clap. My God is so big, so strong and so mighty. There's nothing that he cannot do. Clap, clap. The rivers are his, the mountains are his, the stars are his handiwork too. Clap, clap. My God is so big, so strong and so mighty. There's nothing that he cannot do. Clap, clap. And now we've got the last song. It's called What Noise Shall We Make? And you can dance around your room. If you've got something to rattle or bang, you can use that. And I've got a bottle with some rice in. What noise shall we make to say that God is great? What noise shall we make unto the Lord? Let's make a loud noise to say that God is great. Let's make a loud noise unto the Lord. Here is my loud noise. Here is my loud noise. Here is my loud noise unto the Lord. What noise shall we make to say that God is great? What noise shall we make unto the Lord? Let's make a quiet noise to say that God is great. Let's make a quiet noise unto the Lord. Here is my quiet noise. Here is my quiet noise. Here is my quiet noise unto the Lord. What noise shall we make to say that God is great? What noise shall we make unto the Lord? Let's make a fast noise to say that God is great. Let's make a fast noise unto the Lord. Here is my fast noise. Here is my fast noise. Here is my fast noise unto the Lord. What noise shall we make to say that God is great? What noise shall we make unto the Lord? Let's make a slow noise to say that God is great. Let's make a slow noise unto the Lord. Here is my slow noise. Here is my slow noise. Here is my slow noise unto the Lord. Dance from the room. That's the end of this week's service from St Mary's in Jersey in the Channel Islands. There'll be another one next week with a different story. Bye-bye.